The seminar is coming to an end, unfortunately, I would say, and it's time to make those concluding remarks. We in the organizing group, all members of this FORK network that you have heard about, 10 of us have been organizing this and with good helpers. We have had great expectations of this seminar. And after what we have experienced today, I dare say that the seminar has fulfilled those expectations. And this is not least to the big audience that we got here and the excellent speakers we invited. Let me say that I think that has fulfilled these expectations. As Nanna Lin said in her opening address this morning, the inspiration of this seminar and the following workshop for a smaller invited group of experts came through this call for application for funds to arrangements that stimulate interdisciplinary interaction and solutions beyond what single disciplines and single disciplinary endeavors can do on their own. And linking human rights and relevant public health nutrition with human rights theory and practice is an example of extreme interdisciplinarity, which not least the panel here has shown with, and the dialogue with you all, with clarity of language and the immense challenges. But we cannot stop now. We are on the road to beginning to align these things, and we hope to get further. This interdisciplinary challenge is something that, what I would say, traditional researchers in the two sides, in the two fields, they perhaps understandably tend to shy away from, because it simply becomes too far from their, what should I say, intellectual comfort zone. So it is very difficult to have enough of a critical mass who work on this. Students, as somebody said here, is the hope, and we have some of them here. We wish to make some thanks, and we thank the UiO Life Science Initiative for the support that made this seminar possible. It was not the only funding, but this was absolutely what we could start building on. And we had a lot of secretariat support also. We do believe that the discussions today, and we continue to this afternoon and Friday, that this can have an impact, that we can, particularly through the filming of the event. Thank you very much. This event, that it can actually, with that documentation, we can bring forward ideas that we believe must find the place in the UN Decade of Action on Nutrition, which now has entered into its third year, just about. I should mention in that context that there are traditions to build on in this country to bring relevant human rights theory and practice into the nutrition decade. There is a history of very constructive support and relationship between the original Oslo initiated network, or Oslo-based network promoting the right to food and human rights, and our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which we have representative of here. That was actually, this network promoted in the 1980s, 1990s, and 2000 and up to now, this food and human rights. And that was, as I said, years back, particularly on the height of the right to food movement, which was in 1990s and 2000s, the first decade of the millennium. This absolutely helped build up and up to and followed up on the first World Food Summit in 1996 that many of you are aware of, as regards nutrition and human rights. And this was actually a watershed in bringing much needed stimulus to the work of this movement of academics, pioneering civil societies like all FIAN, who many know, and some interested states, and some committed states, I would say. And I am there especially proud that it was Norwegian diplomats with stamina who pressed for a final statement by the World Food Summit calling for a clarification of the content of the right to food. This was an invaluable motivation at the time to continue a rather uphill struggle, to get more people to see and try out the connections between adequate food and human rights that could, in principle, change the way we work with food security and nutrition research and practice. Our authorities at the time continued into the 2000s to support many activities, including funds for workshop we could organize with colleagues in several African countries on the right to food. What would it mean in that country? And support from the Norwegian government and UNICEF was also critical to bring about, from the mid-90s, a standing working group on nutrition ethics and human rights in the UN Interagency Standing Committee on Nutrition. We had funds for meetings that could build up with this, so that when we got this working group, we actually had begun to understand what we were talking about and how to influence the whole UN system. Nothing less, because the Standing Committee on Nutrition is an interagency set up for at least development agencies, now also the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights. Now, let me go to FAO and WHO. You are, or you represent, the two appointed lead agencies for the nutrition decade. Correct? Yes, I know I'm correct. Now, let me say something about FAO's work following the launch of the Right to Food Guidelines. You have said so much yourself, so I can shorten it, but it has served as a great inspiration both to academics and NGOs, and certainly to some countries, implied in grounding food security and nutrition work in human rights framework. Some of us had actually the pleasure a little more than a decade ago to work directly with the Right to Food team. And we are very happy that FAO has found that this initiative we have today and tomorrow is worthy to send a member of the Right to Food team, Serena Pepino. So we thank FAO. You will take it back to them and say we are very happy. I've said so already. Now, more recently, we have been very happy to and enjoyed working with members of WHO Department for Nutrition and Health, Department for Nutrition and Health and Development, whose director, Francesco Branca, was interested and very interested in this initiative already more than a week ago. No, sorry, more than a year ago. And this year, to the extent that he allocated 3 of his staff members to work with us to bring out the content and the form of this seminar. We thank him and you, Kaja, and your colleagues, Markus Stahlhofer and Lina May, for the great interest and support and immediate feedback when we sent you something, so that we really were interacting, and I hope we can continue with that. Now, these selected glimpses from the timeline, I will call it international timeline, for addressing the challenges implied in human rights-based approaches to food security and nutrition, they can serve to emphasize that the arrangements these 2 days really insert themselves in a wider global effort to fight malnutrition in all forms within the human rights framework. That effort is still alive, but we need more, or they need, or we all need more and new political support and resources to carry out further work on a sustainable basis in support of the Sustainable Development Goals, as we have heard, where nutrition really fits into everything there. The conjunctures are not the same as in the 1990s and 2000s when this was flowering at the international level. And this is in line with the difficult time for all human rights nowadays. It is a good first sign, however, on our theme here, that Norway is an early member of the recent initiative in Rome by civil society and some states, several, I think they're coming more and more, to establish a network called Friends of the Right to Food. And this is meant to revitalize the attention to this right along further new avenues, and of course build on all the immensely good work that the team has been doing, which is remarkable. We are sure that the WHO will now bring, because it's a little bit lower in FAO institution-wise, and then WHO is coming up, and I'm sure that now at one level in the decade of nutrition, they will collaborate more closely than you have done, So we're observing from the outside, and we expect this to happen. Okay, we also hope that, of course, that Norway and other human rights friendly countries will remember that rights to adequate food and the right to health are part of the whole integrated system of human rights, civil and political, economic, social, and cultural rights that the first speakers also pointed to. Now, before I really close this seminar, I just want to add a few more thanks. First, a warm thank to the Norwegian Consumer Council. Where is it? There it is. For a most generous, on your own initiative in the Consumer Council, a substantive donation so that we could make this filming possible. That is very inspiring, and we thank you very warmly for this. We are able now to spread this, what has been said today, on the global level. Everybody can get it when they're interested, and we are discussing various forms on how we should use the new technology best. We thank the production firm, LO Media, through you, Øyvind, for deciding on a very, very short notice that they really wanted to do this. It is not even 2 full weeks ago since we started to talk with you, and it was really very quickly organized, and very many thanks for that. And we not least thank our own department of IT department, and other electronic people that have been around for giving an enormous support for this to happen. Last night there were 5 men, and there were 5 men and 2 other men on the film team in this auditorium with some of us, and they were working from 4 and ended up at 8 or something. So I mean, it has been a fantastic thing. I want to mention this because I mean, it is so important for us that we have the money for this, and that you have done it, and that the electronics and everything has been behind also and function, I think, perfectly today. So warm thanks to IT through Jon and his collaborators, Jon Wedemann. Okay, what more? Yes, of course, a very special thanks to all our international guests, whom we actually, believe it or not, we started gathering you in November last year because we very much wanted to have exactly you. And then you have to start early with these busy people. And then, of course, others have come in on a later notice, on short notice, and you are equally welcome. And you fitted then in what we didn't have. So anyway, and we know there are many people who would have come and take part, but they were occupied. Now, last but not least, I think I have. Yeah. I want to talk or thank the 8 master students who have been going around here. They have been so eager to assist us in numerous tasks, many of which have been invisible, but absolutely crucial to get this whole thing running from when you came to you go out. But you get some food first. I should tell, as the last thing, that they are fresh from the exam of a 6 weeks master course that is now run at OsloMet, Oslo Metropolitan University, through Livellin Thorheim. And a course which we have a lot of love for because it started here very soon in collaboration with OsloMet, all back in 1997. I'm sorry, 1997. So, and I want to just to say that, so they are not only having done 6 weeks of human rights and other international stuff in other courses, they are not only good helpers, but they may be our future colleagues in all these endeavors. Thank you, all of you. So with this optimistic outlook, I close the seminar, and we hope that it has given all of you something to think about. Thank you for coming. We will inform you when the video is ready, and everybody can share it. Now I thank you just collectively, everybody, and invite you to come to lunch and mingling. That is again to the left when you go out here. And we, as has been said, we think there is food for everybody, even if you haven't registered. So thank you very much.